So I just need to get pictures so I can register. They're for my own personal use, will be deleted once register is taken. Some of you look very lovely today. All dressed up, Clara. Good woman. Okay. Let me go. Okay, are we happy to move? Okay, I'm gonna swipe to the right. So this was the 2010. Now we haven't done secondary sexual characteristics, but this should be doable. And again, if there's a star in the mark scheme, that means that is the only acceptable answer. So you don't see part of their mark scheme, but they will have other stuff written for certain things that they will accept. It just doesn't go into the official mark scheme. But when there's a star, it is a one-word answer.
Miss Robin just texted me saying that she's sick and she's not going to be in the class.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So folks, I've just had a conversation with my chemists. In terms of where we're at, we're in a really, really good spot. So I'll give you the option. We can either move the Friday's assessment to next week and you can get Friday physically off, because we would also have next Wednesday off, or we can do the assessment on Friday and next Friday I'd give you the double off. Which would you rather? Don't all speak at once. My mute isn't.
Maybe.
Go for it, Andrew.
Maybe the double.
Okay, so we've got one vote for the double. If you think,
I'd like the double off.
okay, so we're gonna go with the double on whatever it is, 4th of May or 4th of February. Okay, that would make everyone happy.
So we have the test Friday. Okay.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so now that we've done that and we've put a little bit of happiness into our day in some way, had I given you 2017, I'll mark the rest that are there. So don't think this is right. I don't think this is right. Yeah, here's where I want it to be. I thought I'd moved it, so we've done this. Okay, so we just got to talk a little bit about sperm. I think you have the diagram in your book. This little thing, if it was in anything but an Apple product, you'd see all of the little sperm swimming around like little mad things. So the things that you just need to label on your sperm, there are 3 parts to sperm. So this is the first part up here. It is the head. This is the only part. This is the part that gets into the female or into the egg. This part underneath it here, the middle bit, is called a collar. So while it is the middle section, it is called the collar. And here is where you have all of the mitochondria. And the tail is the part back here, and they need obviously the tail for movement. So at the head, or the top of the head, there are it's called the acrosome, and it's the digestive enzymes which literally eat the outer coating of the egg, go through the membrane so that they can get in there. That is the nucleus with the chromosomes. This will probably come up as collar, I would say. Yeah. So your collar contains your mitochondria, so that's where it's getting all of the energy and respiration so that they can move, and your tail is allows them to swim. So I think it was in the last couple of weeks somebody somewhere has done in-depth detail on how sperm swim. And you know how they kind of show in the adverts that it's like a corkscrew going around and around? It actually isn't. Supposedly sperm swim like dolphin. So they go up, down, up, down, up, down. Yeah. So I love useless pieces of information because you'll never know when it will be a pub quiz question. And then I have the answer if I ever get to a pub quiz again. Okay. So that's the only part that's going into your egg. So if you want to remind yourselves for your chromosomes, N is equal to 23 because they are haploid.
The name for the tail, that's the same as the name for tails and bacteria too,
Correct.
right?
Correct, and that's possibly why then they thought it was doing a corkscrew thing. But as we said, it's dolphins. Okay, are we happy to move? I can see most heads. So yes, no, Conke, Peter, Zara, thank you, Mark. Okay, I'm gonna go. Alright, so we did this yesterday and we just said that survival time is up to 7 days. So there are 3 hormones involved in the male reproductive system. You definitely know one. What's the one you definitely know?
Testosterone.
Testosterone. So there are 2 others that are produced, and they are produced at puberty, and females also produce the same 2 hormones. So the first one is a thing called follicle stimulating hormone. And essentially the follicles are it's egg and sperm production. So they will cause the production of sperm. So FSH, you can use just the initials. The SEC will accept them. The other one is called LH, luteinizing hormone. And this stimulates the testes to make testosterone.
So do we just need to know like FSH and LH?
Yeah,
okay.
That would be okay, Hannah. So FSH does a similar thing in females. That's how we do our egg production. And the LH makes us produce estrogen and then progesterone. So they both do the same jobs in males and females. Ooh, apologies.
Males also produce some level of estrogen, just
very small amounts. Yeah, females supposedly produce a small amount of testosterone also.
Can you use LH as well, or is it just
absolutely. Apologies. Yes, you can, Zara.
Okay, thanks.
So then that leaves us with our last hormone, which is testosterone. So what do you think the job of testosterone is? So you are embryo. What do you think testosterone does at that point?
It developed the sexual characteristics for males.
Yep. So testosterone
Because
is,
all embryos start off as female.
which is why all men have nipples, because your DNA hasn't made your boy bits yet. It knows that you're going to be a male, but it makes the nipples first in the off chance that you will end up being female and you will need to breastfeed. Again, useless piece of information, but it's got some use somewhere. Okay, so
If that malfunctions, is that how like intersex happens? Like how people show both types of characteristics?
That's DNA. That's not just hormone.
Oh, okay.
Because you can't.
Can you go back for like 3 seconds? Thanks.
So when embryos are in the uterus, there will be testosterone produced, and that's going to make the boy bits as such. And then you get another shot of it at puberty, and then that develops characteristics that will turn boys into men. So in terms of testosterone, it's responsible for primary and secondary male sexual characteristics, they're called. So primary means, are you going to be a boy or a girl? And secondary then is, we're now becoming males. I'm going to have to mute for 1 second. Hola. I'm teaching now, bud.
Mm-hmm.
So you're here and you're quiet.
No, I just need to get some paper.
Okay. They can't hear you.
This is what
Okay.
they done. Goodbye.
So your secondary sexual characteristics might be pubic hair and facial hair in men. It will be the enlargement of your larynx. And deepening of your voice. It will be increased muscular development. And bone development, so the bones get longer. There is your growth spurt, which happens at puberty. And increased sebum secretion. Can we remember what sebum is or what it does? Or where we'd see it? Okay, that is secretion. I can't fill it in, I apologise.
It's the oil in skin, right?
Yep, so it's the joy of getting spots at puberty. It does calm down eventually. Just gotta stay in it. So infertility, how would you describe it to somebody?
Not able to like pass on your genetic
Yeah, so
material.
you can't, you cannot produce offspring. Can I click off this? Andrew, you okay? Yes, no? Can't see if you're giving me a finger or...
Sorry, yeah.
No. Don't yet. I
Okay.
still have to get those like 1 to 4 things done.
So, what type of male infertility issues do you know of? Because you have to have an example of male infertility and female infertility. Any takers?
No sperm produced.
Yep. So that's really the primary one. Do we have any idea what could cause low sperm count?
Is smoking a reason?
Smoking can be a reason, yeah. Lifestyle choices can absolutely be a reason. Any other things that might do it? So I have friends that are in the US. They are retired now, but they are ex-special forces, and literally all they have are girl babies. All of the boy sperm get killed. So stress can have a huge impact on sperm production. Peter, are we good to click?
2 seconds.
What is it about the jockeys?
What, the jockeys?
They're getting
Well,
beat.
the fact that they probably sit in hot baths and steam rooms to like drop their weight when they have to, that is not good. Like, because if you're thinking that the scrotum is already outside, so it's going to be cool, and now you've just pushed someone into whatever degrees of sauna, like, that's not good for sperm production.
Not to mention they're getting hammered.
Well, it's not the nicest of job, but like technically they're standing up when they ride, so their bits aren't being hurt in that way. But you would assume that once they stop going into saunas all of the time, then they will recover. Okay, we're going to move on. So in terms of infertility, it's your inability to produce offspring for whatever reason. Ooh. So we will do the male version here, and then we will do the female version later on. So we're going to go with the one of low sperm count, and literally it is how many sperm are per mil of your seminal fluid. Again, this little video won't work, but low sperm count, they essentially put the semen sample under a microscope and they look, and they'll count it at high magnification in a certain area, and then they'll double it up or they'll multiply it up to give you number per mil. And it's obviously really obvious once you look down microscopes whether or not it's a good sperm count or not very good. So lifestyle is a big thing. If you are a big drinker, smoker, take anabolic steroids or other drugs, then you're going to have problems. If you have the tubes weren't formed properly or there's something blocking them, that can be an issue. And stress is can be a huge component in quality of sperm production. Like to have low sperm count, it is exceptionally low. Like you are producing 500 million sperm from a healthy male in one ejaculation. So you really, if to have a low sperm count, it's really low. And the reality is then for those 500 million, only maybe 20 of them actually get to the vicinity where the egg is. So while you have 500 million sperm, they're not all going to be healthy and perfect and amazing.
Weird thing is, the bigger an animal gets, the smaller their sperm gets, because it's to increase the chance of fertility.
There you go. I did not know that now. Again.
Like,
keep writing, Peter.
Fly,
write and talk.
You know, like a blue bottle fly only has one sperm when it actually fertilizes. It only releases one, but it actually it's longer than the fly itself, and than the fly's full body length.
Nice. Thank you for that visual.
Same.
No, it's okay.
That was a cool fact.
So then, in terms of our treatments then, what's your treatment for this? what are our treatments if we want to improve sperm counts?
Stop consuming like drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, so avoid your drugs, cigarettes, and alcohol. That's a no-brainer. If you have stress in your life, you've got to reduce your stress. And another option is IVF, so in vitro fertilization. So that is where you would give them a sample of your semen, and they will either use a turkey baster and put it into the female, or they will make the baby in a petri dish. Good times. Okay, where are we at? Alright, so look, what we might finish with today is going to be just the drawing of the female reproductive system, if that's okay. And one of the questions that you need to consider is, so we know no sperm can be viable for at least 7 days, and now we need to wonder about eggs. What is the story with them and their viability? How long do they remain viable for? So I'm going to switch this, if that's okay. And so you can now see black screen, correct? Yeah, thank you, Zara. Alrighty, so we're going to go white. So when we draw our fallopian tube either side, we draw our, okay, I'm not doing this right now because I'm trying to see it in my own head. So in reality, female reproductive organs, when they are not being used, are about the size of a girl's fist. And obviously when you have a baby, they can grow up in size to a basketball. So your uterus will go that size. So we also want to put in here your endometrium lining. Put that up here. We also then have these ligaments that come out the side, and I'm not drawing this particularly well today, so I apologize. So you have ligaments, and the ovaries are attached at the end of those as a whole. And in reality, that is the female reproductive system. So we now go to labeling. So this is an ovarian ligament, and it just holds the ovary in place. This is your fallopian tube. It can be called an oviduct. So ovi kind of coming from egg or ovary, and it's the little tube that your egg travels down. The red stuff over here is your endometrium, so that is the lining of the uterus that thickens depending on where a female is in her cycle. This is your uterus. Down here, I'll change the color of my pen. This part here is the cervix. So that will close if a female is pregnant, and here is vagina. I think we've put everything else. So the only other things that we have to put in is an X where meiosis occurs. We're going to put in an F where fertilization occurs. And we are going to put in an I where implantation occurs. So where am I going to put the X? What do we think? Where am I going to put the X?
Ovary.
Ovary. Correct. So that gets my X. Where am I going to put my F? Anyone else?
Fallopian tube.
Yeah. So F will happen here or here. And I for implantation.
In the uterus.
Endometrium.
So yeah, somewhere in your endometrium. So you can put I here, I here. It's 3-dimensional space. So I'm pretty sure nothing is going to ping for you today. Teams. Yeah. Okay, we're just happy to do a tiny little bit of page 216. Yeah, we're happy with the diagram, Millie. Yeah, okay, change my share. Okay, so in terms of then our ovary, it's going to produce eggs and female hormone. And again, use this piece of information, but all of the eggs in an ovary are present at birth. So technically, your mom carried what will be her grandchildren, or at least half of her grandchildren, when she was pregnant with you.
So, what's menopause?
So menopause is when a woman's reproductive life is over, and it really is one day, and it is the day when you no longer get periods. So
Okay. I was just wondering, because like if they have all those eggs from birth,
yeah.
obviously they're not all going to be used. So what's that mean?
So that's the next point. Every month 20 eggs mature, but only one of them is going to actually get released from the ovary. So
the others just
disintegrate.
commit apoptosis.
Yeah, essentially they just disintegrate and die, and they're reabsorbed. And once you hit 30, the egg quality of a female is decreasing all of the time. Because at that point, your eggs are 30 years old, even though you have only been menstruating for 18. So this is kind of like plant reproduction in that for the males, all the cells are used, but in the female, they're only very limited in what they use. Things disintegrate and are not used.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did the F and the I stand for?
So the F stands for fertilization, and the I is implantation.
Okay.
Okay, happy to move?
Oh, yeah.
Peter, where are you?
The last thing, that many eggs mature each month.
Okay. So only one egg released and the rest will die. So then in terms of your fallopian tube, it's just muscular. These things here are called funnels. And essentially they are contracting as your heart contracts, and so because they move in waves, they'll be able to catch the egg. So can we remember when we did digestive system, we had a word to describe the fact that the tube contracts and relaxes alternately. Can you remember what that word was in our digestive system?
Peristalsis.
Yeah, peristalsis. And can we remember when we did the respiratory system, you have the hairs that go in your nose and down your throat and in your trachea. Remember what they were called?
Cilia.
Cilia. So you actually have both of these in fallopian tube. So the cilia are the hairs that are wafting, and they will help move the egg along. And there's also peristalsis ongoing, so it literally contracts kind of with your heartbeat.
Yes.
Yes.
Where does the first thing go? First paragraph. It doesn't seem to fit anywhere.
The fallopian tubes are muscular tubes, have funnels at the end of each tip to catch egg after it's released.
Okay.
After it is released, the egg is moved along the tube by cilia and muscular peristalsis, or just peristalsis because it is muscular. And then the last part. Go first.
Is the muscular peristalsis what contracts the contractions as well?
No. So it's not peristalsis, because peristalsis is happening all of the time. So obviously your uterus, we hope, is not contracting all the time, because you'd be in a whole lot of pain with it if it was. So it is it's called a smooth muscle contraction. So it's the same muscle that's in your lungs. So asthmatics, anti-asthma drugs will actually stop labour, because it'll stop it contracting. So it's not peristalsis. And just then the last bit, and we will end here, is the egg is either fertilised, but you only have a 12 to 48 hour window once it's released for it to get fertilised.
So that's why sperm has the longer life.
Yeah, because it has to be there ideally. Okay, so let me see my lovely timetable. So we have a double tomorrow. There is no homework from today because there's nothing to give on, and I need to catch up with my marking. So I hope that doesn't offend. And we're going to go plant test on Friday. So I will release it at... Are you regular person break or you're not? You're the 12:55 break. So I will release it at, I would say, 1 o'clock, and you just get it back to me by 4. Okay, and I'm trusting you to be great and just use your own brains.